Man, as per usual, I go to bed a little bit early and then JP decides, oh, ZTL went to bed, I guess we should go ahead and drop a buff for another one of these servants. Now, I have not seen the Scathach buff, but I'm told that it's to her third skill, and I'm told it's quite good, which is a little intriguing for me because I think already Scathach's kit is looking quite good. I think it's already pretty strong. I mean, they've already pretty much got her down pat. They gave her an NP upgrade, so her damage at baseline is already really good. I mean, she's already pretty much guaranteeing in the stun department, you know, being able to like pretty much stun anything as long as they're not immune, because go figure, 500% is really good. And then, you know, this skill is now fully turned on by her second skill because they went ahead and gave her the buff success rate, and then they also, you know, gave her a small battery. So that helps her be a little bit more consistent, because if you're not an older player like myself, way back in the day, because her quick cards are a little bit weaker, the best way to refund NP on Scathach was to, I think it's an Arts Buster chain, because she has such high hits on the Buster cards, but the Arts lead then allows them to refund a decent bit of NP. She's a very wacky servant, to say the least. When I was starting to play the game, I didn't really get it, because obviously you'd think, oh, I'm just going to go for, you know, like an Arts quick chain or something along those lines. And that'll let me refund a bunch of NP, especially when you have the big quick buff going on. But apparently not. You know, I had to figure that one out pretty quickly. But there's not a whole lot that I think they could do for the third skill. Well, I mean, they could just make the power mods 3 turns, right? They're 100% for Divinity and, what is it, Undead, right? And they're 100% for 1 turn. You can make those 3 turns, and I think that'd be good, but apparently it's really good. I mean, I've only just seen a bunch of stuff coming in my recommended about people being like, this skill is crazy, and look at all this nutty stuff I could do with Scathach. So let's just peel the band-aid off, you know? Let's not just sit around for 8 minutes, you know, speculating on what it could be. Let's go ahead and just peep what the third skill is. It is... okay, yeah, Divinity for 3 turns, Undead for 3 turns. The scaling's not changed, but that's still really good. Get an on-attack buff for 3 times for 3 turns. Charges NP gauge by 20% when attacking. Ooh, that's quite good. That's not when normal attacking, is it? Does this apply to her NP? I'll have to double check on that one. If it doesn't, this is still very, very good. But if it does, she functionally just kind of got the Artoria buff, which is really good. Don't mistake me, Artoria is still very, very strong. I mean, that was why in the few weeks that we didn't have Oberon, she was still able to do Buster looping, because not only does she have a 30% battery, but she has a 20% refund on her NP. For Scathach, that's really nice, because again, her NP gain is a little bit weird with how her deck is situated. So getting effectively 60% NP back, I mean, think about it this way. If you really want to get to your NP, you could pop the third skill, pop the second skill, and then with a Brave Chain, functionally, I imagine you would get to your NP. Well, I guess you don't want to pop the second skill immediately, because you don't want to waste the quick buff on that turn, but you get what I'm going for. You do a Brave Chain, 60% NP back, you know, crazy. I mean, you could also just do the normal thing. Let's say you're not fighting a Divinity or Undead opponent. You just pop skill 1, skill 2, you know, do your normal thing, you know, get your crit buffs and all that stuff. You know, fire the first NP, then fire this, boom, just refund everything back. Or again, just pop it if you are fighting in a Divinity or Undead enemy, do a Brave Chain. You're already 60% of the way there. This seems really good. I mean, not to also mention, I mean, this is no small thing for her as well. The Divinity and Undead power mod, I mean, specifically more for the Divinity one, I don't know if I've ever really used her for Undead, because it's not really that prevalent. I mean, don't be wowed too hard with the amount of options you have for your Undead power mod. I think the only one of these enemies that are really bosses is like, that's a boss, but then, you know, if you're in like a 90++ node, if you're trying to think of this in more of a farming perspective, you'll probably see like a big ghost be thrown into a 90+ or a 90++ node, I imagine. But aside from that, not a whole lot else going on here. I mean, it is nice that there's a couple of bosses, I suppose, but this is the real money maker for Scathach, right? Like, this is the real one that you're going to be breaking her out for, because this is a decent bit of servants, and with how hard Scathach is able to hit, you know, you can kind of just bring her neutral to some of these. I know I have. I know for some of these bosses, I was like, just break out Scathach, because not only she's going to be stunning them all over the place, but she's going to be smacking them really hard. In fact, I'm seeing Mr. Nunos. I did bring her to the strategy, and people are going to laugh at me in the comments, but the strategy was it was like Scathach and Kidu and one other person I don't remember. And because they gave us, what was it, 6 of the Spirit Vein, the blue cube things that let you revive, they gave us like 6 of those. I just said, bro, screw trying to even strategize for this fight. I'm just going to bring 3 strong guys, and they're just going to keep smacking him with strong NPs, and I'm just going to keep reviving, because I got to find a use for these cubes somehow. And it, you know, it was really funny. It still took us like 3 cubes or something. It goes to show how hard that fight is, I guess, even with strong servants. But, like, you know, still using her for divinity, because she's very good for this. And the one problem that I always did have with Scathach, though, is that she was kind of a one-pump chump, for lack of a better term. You know, you would fire your NP, especially if you brought her to fight a divine or undead opponent. I mean, if you are one of the weirdos that brought her for an undead opponent, you know, once you use that, it wore off, you know, and you pretty much had no damage on those guys. And plus, this was already a one-turn buff as well, so once you lost that, I mean, sure, it was really nice that she could fall back on being a crit servant, but she's not exactly dropping a lot of stars on a 1-hit quick NP and 2-hit quick cards. You know, she's not exactly Jack out here, you know, bombing stars all over the place. So this will at least be nice. I mean, I do think this is, like, really insane. I think this is really, really nice for her. The only thing that I will I'm going to have to go check on myself is whether or not this procs on the NP, because I think that could be kind of nice. But, I mean, surely this also has applications for 90 plus and 90 plus plus nodes as well, right? If you find her face cards or any one of her cards, you can refund her a little bit easier. I mean, which she probably wouldn't need for those, because you're not really going to be refunding much on the NP now, are you? But yeah, I think this is kind of nice. Unfortunately, you know, I have not been able to test it out myself, as I didn't even bother looking at it firsthand because I don't have Scathach. If I had Scathach on JP, I probably would have gone and, you know, done the skill buff, then come and done this. But if I don't have the skill buff, like, I don't own the servant, then, you know, there's like no point in looking at it first. Might as well get a raw reaction, I guess, for myself. You know, I enjoy kind of experiencing these for the first time with people. They also, okay, that's kind of interesting to make Godslayer EX. They really are gassing that up. Is Scathach gonna appear in Ordeal Call 3 and beat up some large god? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if Scathach's ever killed a god in one of our story things. She fought Ku Alter, and I think that's about it. I mean, she appears in Lilim Harlot, but I'm not going to talk about anything for that, because, you know, everybody appears in that, and I don't want to say what specific guys do, because everybody kind of looks somewhat cool in that, I guess, not singularity, but story, it's not even story chapter, event, you know, a story event, I guess. But yeah, that's interesting. They also decided to up that up, so I don't know, maybe Scathach will appear and do something crazy, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I definitely think all of the things I've been seeing in my recommended saying, like, oh, this makes her really dummy nutty now, I think are completely warranted. But I don't know. It's either like, okay, is she going to be like an A plus servant, or is she going to be like an S tier, EX tier servant? I'm leaning more on the latter, but I would like to take her out for a test drive a little bit myself first. So I'll get back to you guys on that. You know, maybe you ask me in a couple of days on a live stream or something, and I'll probably have an answer for you after I've tested it out, because I'm going to be more reliant on other people on my friends list or a random person actually doing the skill upgrade for their Scathach, because the JP player base, I don't know what it is. People get skill buffs, and it takes them forever to get it done, which is only frustrating when I want to test out a servant. I want to see if they're good, and nobody does the skill buff, right? It's like super, super frustrating, but I'll get back to you guys on that one. But on paper, looks really strong. Let me just test it out for a little bit first. But with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.